Good morning, dear class. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. Today's lesson is about adjectives of comparison. Adjectives are the words we use to describe the nouns, like tall, young, good, smart, long, big. In today's lesson, we're going to see how do we use the adjectives to compare between the nouns, not only to describe it. So, today's lesson is about adjectives of comparison. Please notice that there are comparative adjectives and superlative adjectives. First, let's talk about comparative adjectives. These are adjectives used to compare between two nouns. Like in this example, we have Alice and Joy. These are two nouns and I'm going to compare between them. Like when I say, Alice is smarter than Joy. Smarter than. I use the adjective smart to compare between two things or two nouns, but I modified it and I added ER to the adjective. Then I put than. So this is the form we use to compare between two things. We add ER and we use that. We add ER to the adjective and we use that. Look at these examples. Smarter than, taller than, colder than. Let's use it to compare between two nouns. Adam is smarter than Ali. Layla is taller than Hala. Ice is colder than the water. So I add ER and I put than to compare between the two nouns. Okay, and now the superlative adjectives. These are used to describe to compare one noun to many nouns. Listen to this example. Alice is the smartest boy in the class. Who can tell me? How do I use smart to compare in this example? I used it to compare Alice to the whole number of students in the class. So it's comparison between one and many. So I used the superlative adjectives. And the form of the superlative adjectives is the adjective and est. Oldest, youngest, tallest. These are some examples of the superlative adjectives. Aya is the prettiest girl in the class or in the school. Did you notice that form? I used the, then the adjective, and I added est. This is how I form the adjectives in the superlative form. Aya is the prettiest girl in the school. Hur is the happiest girl in her family. So these are the forms of the superlative adjectives. And now, let's see this example. Sophie is a good singer. Now I'm describing Sophie, this little girl. She's a good singer. So I use the adjective good to describe her. And now I'm going to say Eva is better than Sophie. Now I'm not only describing Eva, but I'm comparing her to Sophie. And I said better than. So Eva is better than Sophie. Better than is the comparative form of the adjective good. And now I'm going to compare Sarah to the other girls. So it's a comparison between one noun and many nouns. So I'm gonna say Sarah is the best singer. So I said good, and then comparative form Eva is better than Sophie, and then superlative form Sarah is the best. Is it clear now? Good. Let's see the rules of the adjectives of comparison. We form the degree of comparison of most adjectives by adding er or est, like in these short adjectives. Tall, cold, short, they're gonna be taller than, older than, colder than, and shorter than. This is in the comparative adjective. And in the superlative adjectives, the tallest, the coldest, the shortest. So these are normal short adjectives. But the adjectives that end with vowel and consonant, we double the last letter before we add the er or the est. Like in hot, it ends with o, it's a vowel, and t, consonant. So before we add the er, we double the t. Hotter than, hottest. Bigger than, biggest. Fatter than, fattest. So before we add the er or the est, we double the last letter. Only if the word ends with a vowel, then consonant. And if the adjective ends with a consonant, then y, like an easy, happy, lazy, we remove the y and we add ier in the comparative adjectives or iest in the superlative adjectives. Like easy is going to be easier, easier, and easiest. So we remove the y and we add ier or iest. Happy, happier, happiest. Lazy, lazier than, the laziest. So again, if the adjective ends with a consonant, then y, we change the y into ier or iest. And here are some adjectives that have different forms, like good, it's the positive form. In the comparative form, it's better, so I say better than. In the superlative form, best, so I say the best. Bad, worse, worst. Much and many, more, most, little, less, least.